Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Cruz and welcome back to another video. And this one, I'm going to be answering some more of your frequently asked questions. Let's get it. Before we get started, please do all of the things that help this channel grow. Like this video, comment, and subscribe below. Hit the bell notification icon so you get an alert every single time I upload a video. Without further ado, let's get started. So once again, I took to social media, YouTube community, and I put it out there asking all of you to write me some interesting questions that I could answer here on this channel. Whether it's a frequently asked question or not, doesn't really matter. It's just kind of the name of the video. But what I really want to do is be able to answer some of the questions that you literally have. Some of those questions that maybe you want to write in some of the comment sections, but know that it's an in-depth answer. And I can give you more of an in-depth answer by answering it on the video versus the comment section. I'm always very excited about these kinds of videos because I love the interaction that I get. I love that I can get to kind of more so meet firsthand the community of people who are watching these videos day in and day out. It means a whole lot to me, and the fact that I get responses to begin with just makes me very, very happy inside. Let's just jump right into it. Our first question comes via Instagram. If you're not following me, please do, at @JCruzProject on all social media. And Danny Cruz asks, you obviously have love for the HX Stomp, but would you ever go for a Helix? That's a really good question, and I have thought about it, but to be perfectly honest with you, it's not necessarily my cup of tea. I've done stuff like that in the past, and I always end up being unhappy. Not because of the sounds that I get, because I think that the Helix would cover all of my tonal desires, right? It's more so that I don't get to interact with pedals, and it doesn't feel fun anymore when it's all in a box like that, all so perfectly put together in a unit. You press a button and boom. It also kind of takes away from the art of tinkering, and I know that tinkering is not always a good thing, but it definitely is a necessary thing when you are working in a studio or in a studio environment. Being able to tweak a response, whether it's bass, treble, middle, or lower a delay or increase a delay mix or something, all of that stuff really needs to be accessible. And I feel like products like the Helix, not just the Helix, but multi-effect units in general, make that a little more challenging. In the past, I've tried and I've always loved products like the Helix or the HX Stomp stuff in general. I used to own an Axe FX too. I was also a Kemper user for a long time, so I know that all of those products can essentially cover everything that I would need, and therefore would never really complain about having it. But there's something about having pedals at my feet. It feels more organic, more fun for me, more so than anything else. So I guess the answer to that is it's not necessarily my cup of tea personally, at least not at this point in my career, but it is something that I have my eye on for future use, more specifically to get more content here on this channel. And I know that bringing in products like the Helix could give me a whole lot of content ideas. So something I'm considering, but not at the moment. This next one came via Instagram as well. I believe the handle is NandoSlice, and he asked, what did you do when you felt like giving up? That's a loaded question. And to be real, I'm not 100% sure if he means in life or with the YouTube stuff or just like music in general. But I think that my answer would kind of be the same regardless of what you are referring to. And that's just, you can't give up. I know it sounds like a cop-out answer, but that's the reality. There are times where I wake up sad. There are times where I wake up frustrated. I've been open here on this channel before, admitting to my struggle in the past with anxiety and depression, and certainly giving up always seems to be on the edge of possibility for me, but I just can't do it. Every day I wake up and I tell myself, as tired as I am, as emotionally drained as I can be sometimes, I need to continue fighting. I have purpose. I have a reason to get up in the morning, and it goes beyond my purpose here on this channel or in music in general. To be honest with you, it goes way beyond that. I'm a father, I'm a husband, and all of those things drive me. But even beyond that, I know people of all walks and beliefs watch this channel, but personally I've dedicated my life to having a relationship with God, and therefore I try to be spiritually positive, and I mean just feeding myself gospel, scripture, just having a relationship with God, knowing that there are times where I want to give up and I don't feel very good, and there are times where I wanted to give up on this channel and give up in a lot of things in my life, but I just heard something tell me, or more specifically, I could clearly hear God tell me, Jay, I have a plan, I have a purpose for you, and I want you to keep going. And I'm doing that. I'm in the keep going process. And so if you're out there and you feel like giving up, you feel like throwing in the towel, no matter what it is you're working on and what you want to give up on, first of all, you're not alone. I'm right there with you at times. I feel the same way. But I want to encourage you to keep on going. Don't throw in the towel. Reach out to someone. Let them know if you're struggling. Let them know that you may need some encouragement. You may need some help. You may need a spiritual hug from somebody. And just keep going. Keep fighting. I guarantee you won't regret it. This next question came in via YouTube community, once again from MtplWorship. Thank you so much for always participating. And they wrote, Jay, my question to you would be, what is your overall goal for this channel? Is it to show and demo gear? If not, we would love to know. Thanks. Another really good and kind of deep question, to be honest. There are goals that I set for myself daily, weekly, monthly, and annually, and I'm still in the process of that. Though I've had this YouTube channel for years now, as you guys probably can clearly tell, I didn't really start taking it seriously until January of this year. And so for me, I'm treating it like a brand new channel. And I think that I'm still in the beginning stages of that. And I don't want to be negligent or just ignore the fact that the beginning stages, I have to go through those growing pains. I have to get through the beginning stages of this whole thing. And it's now that I'm starting to see the benefits of it. I'm starting to see the view count go up. I'm starting to see more subscribers get added on a daily basis. And it's paying off. And I'm really appreciative of that. And I have all of you to thank. As far as like my goal in terms of the kind of content that I want to put out, which I believe is what you're more referring to, yes, it is gear related in a lot of ways. I have tried doing other things you may have noticed throughout the year, everything from vlogging to introducing different pieces of gear that are still somewhat related, but not necessarily directly related to music. So I think at the end of the day, it'll always be gear or guitar related at the very least. I'll never be the kind of person to neglect my spiritual beliefs. So I think that oftentimes I will incorporate that portion of my life as well. And yeah, I actually really have been enjoying the most recent sort of grind behind showcasing all of the gear between the pedal board reaction videos and then building my own pedal board, getting different pieces of gear here in the studio, showcasing them on the channel. It's been really, really fun for me and I'm enjoying it very much. But I tell you what, if you have ideas on what you want to see me do that are kind of beyond what you've already seen me do on a weekly basis, I'd be interested to know what your opinion is, what you kind of would like to see here on this channel that's a little bit different. This next question came in via Instagram as well. This is from Napo H Barista, good friend of mine, amazing drummer by the way, but also an amazing coffee maker. He asked me, colored strings, yay or nay? That's a fun question, though he would probably call himself a percussionist by trade. He dabbles in a lot of different instruments such as bass and guitar, and so he understands a little bit more so than the average percussionist, let's just say, about strings in general. My take on colored strings is that I don't know if they've come far enough along to where they can create quality style strings that are essentially colored. Though they look nice for aesthetic purposes, and I've heard a lot of great musicians use colored strings, it's not necessarily the greatest strings to use, right? I personally use the Dario NYXL strings and I love them. I definitely don't see myself being able to go backwards with that. I would have to have the same quality, if not better, to switch over to a different set of strings, let alone worrying about if they're actually colored strings or not. In my opinion, though, colored strings are very nice aesthetically. They typically don't always come with the highest of quality, so I personally tend to stay away from them. Hope that answers your question. Moving on, I grabbed this question via a comment on my YouTube channel. It's from Jason. Jason asks, hey bro, if possible, can you make a tutorial on how to create ambient pads for worship? Thanks and God bless you. Thank you so much, Jason, for your request. And the reason I added that in there is because I've actually been asked to do this before. I never got around to making that video because it's kind of a challenge. Turning on the camera and then showcasing how I essentially record stuff is not necessarily the most exciting video. So I try to make everything entertaining and informative all at the same time. So I do have to figure out how I would make that video, but I definitely am interested in showing you how I layer a lot of guitars to create these pad-like sounds, because I typically don't use any kind of keyboards or MIDI effects. I usually only use guitars, reverbs, delays, and stuff like that to make those pad sounds. So I will make that video one day. Stay tuned, it'll come for sure. This next one is also a comment from a video of mine. This came from Joshua. He asked, hope you could also share some snapshots for worship. I love the sound you make, more power. Thank you for the kind words, Joshua. That is actually a frequently asked question. People asking me about my snapshots on the HX Stomp, my my settings in general, and I'm gonna link right up here a playlist that I've put together where I actually break down part by part all of my different settings, and specifically I do talk about the snapshots and my reverbs and delays, how I increase them as I go more into ambience for my snapshots. So I think you'll get a good amount of information out of that playlist, and certainly I think was very informative in terms of how I set the HX Stomp up for my personal use. And last but not least, this is another YouTube community question. It came from Alex Segura, and Alex asked, favorite pedal / musical gear you can't live without? Love that question. I have no idea. I have no idea. It's too difficult to answer, but no, I'm gonna answer it. Right now, without thinking too much about the answer to that question, it would have to probably be my Nash T52. The crazy thing about this guitar is that it's not really something that without pedals and without an electric amp I could hear, right? It's an electric guitar that doesn't make very much noise, so it doesn't have the same kind of feel as like an acoustic, right, where I can actually play it audibly without having the rest of the gear. So if I was only going to have one piece of gear, this wouldn't be the wisest choice, but it just is the most perfect guitar for me. I've had it for a few years now, and I consider it to be a miracle to have this guitar in my possession. This is one of my dream guitars, and I really honestly couldn't live without it. I play it every single day. It was as if they molded this guitar for my hands and my body personally, and I absolutely love it. I love the sounds that I get from it. I love how it sounds with pedals, without pedals. I love how it sounds unplugged, and of course how it sounds plugged in. And yeah, it's just one of those things that I couldn't live without. Now, I answered piece of gear part. I'm gonna answer the pedal part too. Realistically, I couldn't really set any of this gear up without having a pedal like the HX Stomp. It's doing so much for me at the current moment. Everything from giving me an amp to a cab to delays and reverb. I just don't know how I'd be able to live without it. If I didn't have that piece of gear, I'd have to have a whole lot of more pedals in my possession right now to get those sounds and those tones that I'm getting, and I have to be going through a pretty decent amp. So yeah, it covers a lot of territory for me, and therefore I think I have to give it the crown as being the pedal that I can't live without. And that was it. That was the last question for this video, this portion of FAQs. If you want to continue asking me questions and I've already recorded the video and you're saying to yourself, well, will my question make it? Yes, it will. It will make it in another video. I do the frequently asked questions thing every once in a while. So if you ask your questions, you send them in an email at jcruzproject@gmail.com, or you write it under a comment or direct message me via social media. I will definitely store it in my phone and answer it in an upcoming video. Again, I still take submissions for the pedal board reaction videos. So if you have a pedal board that you want me to react to in another upcoming video for that, there is a part 3 in the works. Certainly, I'm still taking submissions, so do that as well. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to do all of the things that help this channel grow. Like this video, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon so you get an alert every single time I upload a video. I also have affiliate links in the description box below. Clicking on those links will kick back to this channel just a little bit. There's also a link where you could donate directly to this channel via PayPal. Thanks so much for watching, and until next week.